All right, I gotta switch up. Looks like I got a little bit of work to do here on Discord on this. There we go. Perfect. We're good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MCP Rivals. We've got a meta versus meta, community versus community clash here that we are organizing and setting up. It is the Pork Roll Protocol versus the Montreal Shark Tank. Very exciting. And that's awesome. And joining me from the Montreal Shark Tank is Vodka Blitz. How's it going?
Going great, going great. Super glad to be setting this up and finally settle who's king of the East Coast.
Awesome, awesome. And then from the Pork Roll Protocol, we have Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, and I'm still undefeated against Simon 2-0, and I don't expect that to change with this event.
Oh yeah, let's go. All right, that's pretty sweet. All right, so yeah, this is going to be a really cool clash. Each community is bringing some of their best players into the event. So I guess for our audience or for the viewers who watch this now on streaming or on YouTube later on, we want to understand what each community is about. So just give me a little bit of a background, starting with you, Simon Vodka Blitz. Hey, what is the Montreal Shark Tank? And do you have any? What's your claim to fame? Kind of give me a little bit of a rundown.
Yep. All right. So the Montreal Shark Tank is the name of our local meta. We're pretty competitively focused for the most part. We have a really solid group. Shout out to all of my locals who are watching this and participating in the event. Basically, the group started when we started traveling for MCP, like early mid 2022. Um, and it all happened in the first US event we went to, which was ACO back in 2022. And the Shark Tank was birthed there when I won the main event with a pretty underdog team at the time with X-Men, going undefeated in day one and losing on the finals of day two to another one of my locals, whose only losses were to like me and our third local who came there. So like our only losses were between us and our first international event. Uh, so it's where like this all cemented itself. We got to meet like a bunch of super nice people, some of which are here today. And since then, we've kicked their ass pretty consistently throughout all the events we attended together. And yeah, don't want to brag too much for now, but that's about it. Personally, I think I made a name for myself by getting good tournament results with a team that was at the time considered mostly pretty bad. At Second Wind in 2022, where I finished fourth, and someone winning the event with almost all the same tech I had in my list, and doing losing in the semifinals at LVO that year too. Since then, I've been known for like spicy brews, either under Criminal Syndicate or X-Men. We all tend locally to experiment a lot, which made our trademark for like playing a lot of snowflake lists and perform pretty well overall.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so Mike, tell me about the Pork Roll Protocol. Where do you guys come from? What are you all about?
Before we even get to that, I'd like to point out that second place at that ACO was a Pork Roll Protocol guy, and Joe Pape, who was back-to-back second places at ACO. Before Simon
Awesome
starts
times
spinning
to
his
be.
propaganda too much. Joe's history with Simon is not great for us. I'm not going to lie on that one. Uh, 2022 Porco Protocol technically didn't exist, not to move the goalposts too much there. Uh, it started with a couple of guys that were playing HeroClix together, and then they added in Art Washburn, who was the winner of Everwinter, and I think Captain Con a couple of times. But we all play locally out in Matawan, New Jersey. There's probably anywhere from 12 to 16 guys on a given Tuesday night to play at Red Seal Gaming. And we have a couple of guys like Will Castillo from the Games for Guardians podcast that are really good at getting new guys and getting them up to speed fairly quickly and finding enjoyment in the game. And then there's another group of guys that are just there to stomp your throat. And Will, of course, jumps back and forth between there. So we started playing, and some of those guys were traveling and running into Simon. And like our whole local group was like, we need to beat Montreal. Like, this can't happen after ACO. After Ironweld was really the big one, where we sent a team up there. They got second place to Montreal in a pretty tight set of games, and then we were like, all right, no more of this. Um, yeah, I don't think you guys aren't really sending anyone to Ironweld this year, right? This summer.
No, we couldn't go, unfortunately, due to like real life event. We
Yeah,
had to choose between ACO and Ironwild, and since ACO has both a team tournament and an LVO qualifier, we were going there instead. So sad to have to make that kind of choice, but for us, like it's still pretty far in an international event, so gotta weigh your options.
yeah. A lot of our guys are not as well known because they travel a lot within the Northeast and dominate that circuit. But they don't. Most of our guys don't like TTS. So, like, I know, Lucas, that's weird for you because you live in a town with a larger population of moose than people.
Sure, sure.
But for those of us in the larger cities, like real cities like Montreal and New York, we're able to get out to the LGS and get a good group together for that night. But myself, I still play on TTS because I'm degenerate and I need as much MCP as I can, and I really love to enjoy the game, and especially playing people outside of my meta.
Yeah.
So I played in the last two TTS seasons and made cuts both times. And I went to Everwinter, which Simon was at, and on my way to going 5-1, I beat Simon. I made sure he didn't make cuts at that event.
What Mike fails to mention there is that Everwinter in the past 2 years was the only time they had a positive record on us.
I will say that I only started traveling to those events with Salt City and Everwinter, and I did pretty well against since you guys. We're just gonna leave Gabe off that list though, because my record with Gabe's not great. He's a Thanos player, which is that story just keeps continuing for me. I hate him so much.
Okay, well, perfect. That's a perfect segue into the main reason for this cast, which is for the audience watching to find out who is on each player's teams. And so why don't we get right into that? Vodka Blitz, who is your? I'm assuming both of you guys are playing, right? So okay, good, good. So Vodka Blitz, who is the first member that is going to be helping you in this meta on meta matchup?
Most of our current team is composed of the players that tend to travel a lot to the East Coast event. So we have Nick Menard, who's had pretty consistent result in the LVO circuit on the East Coast. I think last year he won 2 or 3 of them, winning Salt City against our third player, another Nick, Nick Patry, who's also a really solid player. He's not been playing for a super long time, maybe a year and a half, but he's been doing super, super well. Um, Player number 4 is
Oh,
Gabe, who
hold on,
doesn't play
Simon. Do you
TTS.
not see these Montreal guys? They don't understand anything about theater, drama. There's no build up
All
there.
right, all
You didn't
right, all
even
right.
you
Yeah,
didn't even mention
but
how Nick Bernard has the best mustache in the entire MCP community. Vince Kirchhoff can step out of the way.
I'll send him a
Bernard
hello.
has the best mustache for sure. God, Simon.
okay, okay, all right. So that's sweet. You got two Nicks and Simon here. So who are the other two players joining you?
We have Gabe, who's not a big TTS player, but who's been traveling with us pretty consistently. Super solid player. He's qualified at LVO multiple times too. Like all great players. That 4 of us consist of our core travel group. Our last and 5th player is TG Lord 22,
Very
Michael,
cool. Very
who's
cool.
made who mostly plays on TTS and locally, but he's made top cut of the TTS league a couple times. Really, really good player overall. Super nice guy. So that's for a roster, like a really super solid group of players. And I don't think any of us are afraid of what pork roll fake meat is going to bring.
Yeah, I've seen all of these names online and around in matches and things like that. So definitely you've got a great selection from your community. I like all those picks. Very cool. And and so yeah, we're gonna see Mike. Let's see what do you got? Who you got
Let
against
me
these guys?
let me set the stage for you,
Yeah.
Simon. When you look at people that win events like LVO, Adepticon, I think Pat Dunford, podcast. I think Mike DeLuca, podcast. I think Vince Kirkhoff, podcast.
Okay.
What's better than having one podcaster representing one podcast on your team? Two podcasters. Okay? I wanted to look and I wanted to find somebody that could come in and really inspire the team. So I grabbed a guy that understands the concept of the inspiring monologue, a guy that understands how to review superpowers. I brought in Mike Dambois from the Strike Better Cop podcast, one of our locals, to come on in, bring his busted stuff, because he only plays the best of the best top meta garbage. And he's coming in, he's ready to take some W's off of Simon. You're not ready for it. Okay?
Ooh, that's a very
Mike
strong
Dambois,
pick. Very strong pick.
yeah. Second place in TTS Season 6, I believe, losing to Morgan Reed, which is nothing wrong with losing to Morgan Reed. How many second place TTS finalists do you have on your team, Simon?
We have TTS winner. We don't bother with second place.
Yeah, but he's not on your. If Magic Nick was on your team, I wouldn't be saying any of these things I'm saying right now. Obviously, we will. I will say that Simon and I both agreed to kind of go with the guys that travel that will be at ACO because it's way more fun. Like everybody Simon's bringing for the most part are the guys that we've had beers with,
Yeah.
and broke bread with at all of our events, which makes it will make it that much better. I assume at ACO while we're drinking some beers and eating some burgers, we're going
Yep.
to be talking a lot of crap about what's going to happen the following week.
All right, so
And it makes it just personal enough to be to be interesting.
Yeah.
This is very cool. We got two Nicks on Montreal side. We got two Mikes on Pork Roll side. So who else is on your team, Mike?
So I went for the power of
Or
two podcasters.
sorry, one sec. Okay, TG Lord's is a Mike, right? TG Lord is a
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
And then I thought, what's even better than getting two podcasters, but getting the power of God on your side? Okay. So I went and reached out to Reverend Right Mad
God.
to come onto our team, fellow Magneto player. You can't compete with that, Simon. You can't. So I got Reverend Right Mad to come onto the team, and you might think he's a nice guy because he's a pastor. But what you don't know is that he's actually a bully. In fact, in the Lunch Meat Classic, he's been kicking people trying to come in and have fun with their Sentinels and their Winter Guard, and Ben's just smacking them around, throwing all the terrain with Magneto. Okay? He beat, I believe, Ludo something in
Yeah.
the second round of the TTS, and he belongs to a Shark Tank. I'm not sure. Is that the Brooklyn Aquarium? Is that Sacramento? Which Shark Tank does he belong to?
I wouldn't brag too hard about Ben. He's 27-2 against we are 27-2 against him. Probably
Okay.
not your best pick.
You know what? Ben's not great at math either, so I think it's fine. He may have gone 0-5 against you at LVO, but that's just going to make him stronger. Okay, he's reflected on it. He's ready. I helped build his team a little bit for what he's been running the lunch meet. He's ready. Okay. Next up on our list, I decided to go with.
Again.
I decided to go with some. Well, doesn't he? Oh no, he doesn't have a positive record against you either. I think you guys are you're 5-4 with Ben. Next, I decided to reach out to somebody that also plays busted things. Okay, a guy who's been starting to make a name for himself lately on TTS and in the MCP community. And that guy is Jin. He comes to every one of our local events despite living in Connecticut, and he's one of my main TTS practice partners. And he's a big fan. He has no soul. He does not mind playing the broken things, just like Lucas. So I know he's reaching for Web Warriors. That's what he's been playing lately. He used to play Shield before that. He has no problem playing whatever he needs to play to take down a Montreal Shark Tank guy.
So tell me this, Mike. Why did he lose to Michael on our team earlier in the lunch meets?
You know what? You're cutting out, Simon. Everybody
There
knows
you
Doc Ock has a great
I'll let the
matchup
rest-
into Web Warriors.
I love the Jin pick. He has just absolutely thrashed me in the last 3 times we've played. I cannot beat that guy, and it pisses me off. So I like the pick a lot.
You want to know the actual biggest rivalry in the MCP community? It's Jin and I. Every time we play, I don't know how you are about F-bombs in your podcast, but that's all I drop when we play. Last tournament I beat him. I asked Will specifically to match us up in the first round. And the first thing I did after I got my prize money and went and picked up that King T'Challa box was I thanked Jin for that. And he did the same thing to me the previous tournament when he beat me at the top table. So we've hardened Jin. He's a really nice guy, but I'm breaking him. I'm teaching him how to be a worse person just for this 5v5, and he'll be at ACO as well. And then the last member of our team, one of the founding members of our team, former top 8 Adepticon 2023, former ACO winner, and another guy that does not have a soul. So we've got one guy, the power of God, and one guy with the power of the devil on his arm. If you've ever seen him play, you're going to get very intimidated playing him because he whips his dice like this, like he's Nolan Ryan throwing a pitch. And that's Rob Reale, former Malekith player, and now he's moved on to the next broken thing that he can play. So we've got a bunch of guys that are willing to play whatever the most disgusting broke thing is, and we're ready to just dry up those snowflakes.
And yet they keep losing to us. What you gonna do?
Well, we're going to find
I'm
out.
just gonna let the record speak for itself. No need to hype my teammates. They're just gonna perform and win.
Oh, jeez. This is good. This is
Like
good.
you
This
guys
is good.
Simon's set up and spread a lot of propaganda about beating up pork roll guys early on in the team's history. That was before I got there. That was before Damwa joined the group. That was before Jin joined the group. Now we're a significantly stronger unit. You saw what happened when we went to Everwinter. We took 3 of the top 4 spots. Okay? At LV,
Here to repeat.
all I know is that at LVO, when Gabe was looking for teammates, he came to the Pork Roll Protocol to join up with us to play in the LVO team event.
Well, all of us were still in the running except for him. So
None of you were in the
sorry.
running. We all lost the first several rounds, whether you're from Montreal or New Jersey. The first 3 rounds of LVO were not great for any of us. But yeah,
Okay.
I feel pretty good about going into ACO with the lists that I've been playing and the list that the guys have been playing. We have the express mission to make sure that no Montreal guy cracks that top 8, and more importantly, making sure Sooner doesn't crack that top 8 either. But he's coming out to that event.
I
I'm
don't
actually,
disagree.
yeah, I'm actually torn. I don't know. I see what people don't know is that despite our rivalry, if we travel outside of the Northeast, it's an understanding that we'd rather see. We want the Montreal or the New Jersey guy to win over everybody else. So actually, Sooners entering enemy territory with everybody there, Matt, Alex, etc. We all want to make sure Sooner goes home unhappy, doesn't want to come back to ACO the following year.
Awesome.
Teach
Very,
him to
very
fight
cool.
again.
We're going to all right, we're going to pivot. I'm very excited. I know all these players. I've heard of all these players. Very excited. You guys are bringing some really some good killers to this match. So I'm very excited about that. So let's just briefly go over the rules of the event. So that everyone understands, the audience watching understand what this is going to look like. So Vodka Blitz, I know you wrote out the rules, so why don't you give us like a brief rundown of what it's going to be like?
All right. So for this event, I went with a modified WTC rules. So it's going to be a 5v5, no repeats of character on each team. Then we're going to use the same, roughly the same pairing system. The only exception and change is that we're going to try to avoid repeat matchups as much as possible, just to make it more entertaining and more diverse for all of the people playing, both playing and watching, just to make it more interesting. So the way it's going to work, each team captain's going to roll for like global prio. Then the person winning gets to choose whether they're playing team A or B. Team A gets to pick 3 of the 5 matchups, while Team B gets to pick 3 of the 5 maps. So the way it works is that one captain presents 2 of their players. Team B presents a player to which like they're gonna pick one of the 2 players presented by the other team and alternate that way. The way it works is that because Team A gets to go first and gets the before last and last pick, functionally give them the three choices the way it alternates. The opposing team gets to choose more maps to play on, just to like make that priority advantage more fair.
Right, perfect. So yeah, this is going to be very similar to WTC. We're going to be playing 3 rounds of this against these players. So is this are we going to be playing where if best 3 out of 5 per round, and whoever has won the most rounds has is the winner of the event?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. So this is great because it like doubles. There's like a rivalry here, scores to settle. But then also like both, I know that both communities are bringing a teams to WTC as well. So this is a fun little practice event for a much larger scale event happening in 5 months from now. So very cool. The and then did we agree that we're gonna be playing on chess clocks, or how are we gonna do that? Are we good to go on that?
yeah. I think we settled on using the same rules as the TTS finals, so 1 hour per player, including deployment.
Okay, perfect. I love to see it. I love the clocks. It puts a little bit of heat on the games. It feels like, and and then of course like also I get to go to bed at a reasonable hour if I'm so
I'm
the
honestly not. I'm honestly not too worried for both us and pork rolls. Like we're everyone involved is pretty good at this game. I'm not too worried for anybody's
Yeah,
clock.
no, it's cool. It's cool. It's more for just like the audience being like, "Oh no, are they gonna
Yep.
run out of time? Oh no." Yeah. the the okay, great. So this is really great. Mike, why don't you give us the brief explanation of the when these games are going to be played?
So I believe it's happening the week after ACO, so that's June 23rd. I think we're starting.
I think we're
Is
starting
that it?
June
Uh,
16th.
June
yeah,
16th. I'm sorry.
right.
The day is
Exactly
it's the
right
week.
after ACO.
It's the full week. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right after ACO. So June 16th, we'll do our pairings. Our goal is hopefully to play one game a night amongst it's just to get maximum coverage as best we can. But Lucas being a human being, we'll probably end up recording some games and doing some commentary afterwards. And then we've agreed we want to try to get as many of our guys and their guys onto Lucas's stream as possible, just to really build up that old school wrestling commentator feel and rooting and talking crap and all that good stuff.
Yeah, very
So
cool. So I think the only other thing to add is that somewhere around June 6th to June 9th is when we're actually going to do our roster reveals. So both teams will reveal to the other what the actual full character, like all the character lists and all that, the tactic cards, the scenarios that each player is going to be bringing. That way it gives you guys about 10 days to come up with any sort of like what's favorable, what's not favorable for me, and you've got like a little mini prep session you guys can do with your teams to try to game the best outcomes overall for your teams. And at that point as well, all 15 maps will be revealed. So we're going to be picking 5 maps per round, so that we're always that you guys are going to be making decisions based on the TTS maps that are listed as in the competitive slot in the mod, and we'll make sure we have meaningful decisions on the terrain maps available, so that that the player that gets to make less matchups and pick more tables has a there's more parity involved in the in
Depends on
that.
it.
Yeah, so I guess like are we going to, when let's say are we going to roll off every round, or are we going to say like the team that doesn't win the first round gets to pick if they want to be team A or team B then in round 2, and should we just do it like that? What do you guys think
Yeah,
about that?
I think that works for me. It makes a lot of sense.
yeah, same for me. I think that's probably the fairest way to go about it.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we had on the agenda today. I'm really excited to see what this is all about, and and I guess we will get that Longshanks posted so people can check out the event and the players in the event in more
Yep.
detail. I'll post that in the description of the YouTube video, and and I'm excited to see who the community is rooting for, and to see like who ends up being like the bad guy in this. Who's the baby face? Who's the heel? And I don't know. I don't know, Simon. I think you're setting yourself up. Another confident Canadian is people don't like that. All right, the outside world doesn't like when the Canadians get too confident
I let the record speak.
oh
I,
yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. Okay. Any last words for you, Simon?
I'm honestly super, super glad to be organizing this event with you guys. I think it's super fun. And one of the things missing from the MCP community, those like friendly rivalries with a little more showmanship and pizzazz. So it's cool to get that going, and hopefully it'll inspire more of these types of small events in the future. So yeah, I'm just super glad to be doing this. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. And Mike, anything? Any last words for you to say before we meet again in about a month to do our squad reveals?
Yeah, I mean, Simon said exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if I would have even brought this to the rest of the guys if it had been a different meta or something like that, calling us out. But the fact that it's guys that we enjoy having that friendly rivalry with, that we push ourselves to beat them and them to beat us, so that when we go to larger events, there's a little bit of a collaboration. I mean, like I said, Gabe literally was on my team at LVO for the team event. Simon and I talk X-Men, in side chats regularly. I talk with Nick Menard all the time about every possible list combination. Like I would say most days of the week, I start my day talking to Nick Menard. It's a little concerning at this point. Between him and Collar, those are like the first two people I talk to every morning, which is odd. Um, and hopefully, like this is a really fun event, and other communities will want to also, commit to some friendly rivalries, or maybe whoever ends up winning this, another community says, "Hey, I want to call those guys out and get a game with them," or maybe even turn something either international again. Big shout outs to all the guys that did the Canada versus USA one, because while that one didn't go well for the USA, like I give a lot of respect to those guys for losing that, because it's I've lost on stream several times now. In fact, in the last week, I got to lose to Jacob Deaton on stream, and it sucks. It's way more fun when you win those games on
Oh
stream.
yeah.
So the fact that people are willing to put themselves out there and get kind of roasted by that MCP chat and the commentators, big shout outs to everybody on Simon's side and our side for agreeing to do something like this, and understanding that regardless of the game, you're going to get crapped on a little bit by everybody.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and after all this, we're still gonna grab a drink together after ACO or whichever next event we get to play together again.
Yeah, you love to see it. All right. Well, thank you guys very much, and we'll catch you in a few weeks. All right. See you later.
See you.
Yeah.